Hi everyone, welcome to the fourth video in this series of houses. This is from Worlds of Wonder by Johanna Basford, and there are videos for these three. If you haven't caught them yet, you can catch up maybe at the end or another time, but today we're going to be doing this one here. Now to me this looks quite church-like. I don't think we actually have a church. I'm just having a quick look. No, we don't really, but I don't know why it looks, I mean churches don't normally have a chimney, but anyway, it's just my sort of thought. But perhaps to do with the door, maybe, in the round window. But anyway, I'm not really sure what to do with this one, but I've had a few thoughts, and I was either going to do it in a sort of grey stone or in a wood. I think I might do a wood, just for something a bit different really. So I know we've done a little bit of wood on a house before, but I thought I could show you how to do it. Now I don't have a ruler with me, so that's going to make it slightly challenging, because normally you would draw your wooden slats with a ruler. So I'm going to have to do them freehand. So I'm going to draw them on. Sorry, I have got my burnt umber, which is quite a dark brown, to draw these on. I'm doing them quite thin because I feel that works with the size of the house as it's drawn. Now I've got no idea if this is even going to work or look right, but I'm going to have a go. Sorry, a lot of non-breathing and concentrating going on for a minute. I'm just working my way along. As you can see, you can use a ruler for this, absolutely. You can evenly space them if you wish. It might look better, but I've just taken this sort of decision to just do it freehand. I could pop next door and get a ruler, but I haven't. Okay, so we have a sort of stripy house. Looks interesting, doesn't it? We ought to put a bit in there as well. Now I'm going to go for a really light brown to do a sort of backgroundish through, and then we'll see how it sits, how it looks. So this is a raw umber, okay, and I'm just going to colour right over, excuse me, all of the bits where I've drawn these sort of lines. Now you want an up and down movement because we want more lines. Now what I've drawn is quite faint, isn't it? So I may have to go back over that in a minute. It's also quite a different colour. You know, the browns don't really match. But anyway. Let's just work through. And then I'll go back and just put those lines back in a bit harder. I mean, I suppose you could have do this first and then draw the lines after. Maybe I should have done that, but it doesn't matter. I'll just redo them. I guess the joy with doing it this way, I suppose you could do it if you did it the other ways. If it all went horribly wrong, we could just colour it in the colour that you did first. You would never know. There we go. So now I'm going back to my burnt umber, and I'm gonna darken those lines. I mean, you can see them, but just not as sort of dark as I had hoped. No, because I want to put in some shading, some shadow, some other lines and bits, so I want this to stand out. So just going back over, because I need to put some shadow in here and things like that. So I just want, I don't know, is there one there? Can't see. I think I'm making some up here. think if you'd done them in black, it might have shown up better. Right, so there we go. Now I want a sort of in-betweeny type colour. I think I'm going to use the nougat, just give it a sharpen. I want it really sharp. So here it is, the nougat. And I'm going to draw in more lines. It might seem a bit odd, I've just tried to make those stand out, but to make it look more woody. But I want it to look like there are those slats with the separate slats, but within each slat there's a bit of a sort of woody wood grain. Woody wood grain. Sounds funny, doesn't it? Or maybe it's just me, I don't know. I think it sounds funny. Anyway, we'll just pop in some more lines. Lots of lines. Create this sort of textured look, I guess. There we go. I'm just looking there. Now I want some shadows, and I'm thinking if I do my shadows in grey rather than brown, they might show better as shadows. So rather than using a sepia, which is quite brown, I'm going to use a warm grey, which again still has a browny tone. So warm grey 6, we used it last time actually. Now I'm just going to do the shadows on my wood bit, so under the roof there and down there, and along here under the roof line. There would be some here too, but I'm going to decide what I'm doing with the roof first. Haven't decided at all yet. No clue, no idea. Be some under the window. So I'm wondering whether to add some colour. I might do. Usually the roof will slightly overlap the building, so the shadow might be fairly long. Let's have a look. Just looking in the screen, it helps me a little bit. See whether it's all making sense. Okay, let's do the roof now, and I'm thinking I'd quite like a reddish colour. Not a sort of scarlet type red, but maybe I'm thinking the Venetian and Pompeian reds are a little bit too... this is what I want. This would be perfect. The Indian red. So we've got quite a brownish red. I think I'm going to do that for the roof. I just want a different colour roof, you know? All our roofs are the same colour. And some houses do have red roofs. Some of them have very bright red roofs, but this one isn't going to. Maybe it's a bit too daring for me, I'm not sure, but now I'm thinking it's going to be a little bit darker at the top, a bit lighter towards the bottom. Now I've got this bit here, I'm going to, whoops, make that quite light, and then going dark underneath, like that. Going to ignore the chimney for now, we'll think about that later. I think it doesn't look like a church now, it looks like an old schoolhouse. What do you reckon? I quite like this colour. I just wanted something so that even though it's wooden, it's quite bright, you know. Stands out still. I'm just tidying it up a bit really here. It's nothing too skilled or special. And this is going to be the same. We'll put some shadows in a minute. So we're going to grab the warm grey 6 for our shadows again, like we did before. Now here we've got quite a big overlap of roof over this building. just going to put a little bit here. I don't think there would be so much there. I think it would be under here there would be a lot. Be a bit down here, like that. And we've got it down here. On this side. And then I'm thinking I quite like a little bit under here. Not too hard. A bit under here. And then there. I might come back and do a bit more in a bit, I'm not sure, but I shall leave that now. Now I'm thinking chimney door. Chimney door. You know, it's that thing, chimney door. Greys. The cap and the line, I'm thinking that might be metal. So I think I'm going to grab this cold grey 4 and try and get a slight metallic effect. Firstly on this hat, cap, top, where I'm going to fade it towards the middle, layer up here, less layers, and just a little bit in the centre, and hopefully it looks maybe metallic. And the same for this little bit here, leaving a little white bit in the middle. It's quite difficult to see for me. And then this window frame, the same, dark at the bottom and leaving a little pale bit at each end, like that. I'm a little bit stuck with the chimney pot. I'm wondering, I might go with the caput mortuum. It's a similar-ish colour to the roof, I think, but it might look a bit like it's slightly earthy. I don't know if it's going to work. I may need to put another colour with it. I'm going to make it darker here and darker on here, so the edges are darker, so it looks rounded. It's too similar to the roof, definitely. So I'm going to put some of my nougat on top of it. Try and make it a little bit browner, a little more earthy, like it might be clay. Yeah, that's better. I think it's better anyway. Now, the insides of our windows, we have this half bit as if we're looking in and we can see part of the sill and part of the edge. So I feel that would be decorated the colour of the inside of the house. I don't really want it too different somehow. So I think I'm going to use the raw umber actually and just do them quite lightly, because maybe they would be the same as the material it's made from. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. There we go. Oh, we've got that one too. They're all the same, aren't they? Now we've got the door. I'm thinking we've got a wooden house we're gonna which is plain wood, so the door might be the same, but we'll make it a little bit darker. So we'll start with our nougat again, but put a fairly dark layer down so it doesn't look like the outside wall. There we go. And what have we got here? A burnt umber. Yeah, we use the burnt umber as well. I'm going to go around the edge a bit darker, where I think it might be darker. Maybe top bottom, stripe it up a bit across these lines that have been drawn on. There. So it looks significantly different to the rest of the house. Now, door frame, I probably should do it in this cold grey 4, like we did for this metal work. It could be metal. But even if it doesn't look like metal, it could be stone. But the step, I'm thinking definitely a stony type colour. Let's go for our warm grey. 6. And to do it, let's do it this way so you can see. Now I think it would be a little bit darker at the bottom. That's how I'm going to do it anyway, and I'm going to put a bit of shadow there on the bottom of the door. Now for this one I think I'm going to make bright windows, quite welcoming. I'm just looking at what we used for the first house because I want to use something a bit different. Let's use this. This is the, I think it's the dark cadmium yellow. Yeah, it is dark cadmium yellow. If you use the cadmium by mistake, it doesn't matter. This one is just a bit more orangey. I think the warm colour goes nicely. We're not going to put any white marks on like we did on our first house. To be honest, I didn't really like them, and I want this one to look different. But I am just going to check before I'm done that I have put enough shadowing in. I'm thinking maybe it needs a little more. I'm just going to grab this warm grey 6 and put a little bit more in here. It can make quite a difference to how 3D the house looks, the amount of shadow you put in. Of course there might be some shadow on the floor down here, but I'm not going to draw that in because we're not doing floors. But there we are. I'm going to leave it there, I think. Again, we're getting a bit quicker, but that is the next house. I'm rather happy with that wood look. Of course you don't have to draw in those wooden slats. You can just colour it plain brown or just colour it a completely different colour if you want to. But there we go. So thank you very much for watching. This little pot, that'll be done with this house. I hope you have a really super day and happy colouring.